We've done our waiting, all 3 years of it, for any news on Fantastic Beasts 3. So imagine the delight when a new trailer made its way online. Now it's here. Join Melisa Kumas for a closer, in-depth look at Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. There's a lot to unpack, clocking in at a generous 2 minutes and 45 seconds long. The trailer includes a look at our beloved characters, new magical creatures, and stunning locations. Now let's take a closer look at what we discovered. Here's your breakdown. If you listen carefully enough, the past whispers to you. The trailer opens with a shot of Hogwarts and a golden snitch, a look at Albus Dumbledore from the days of Harry Potter, then his younger self, played by Jude Law. The voiceover says, if you listen carefully enough, the past whispers to you. Newt Scamander and his brother, Theseus, enter Hogsmeade looking for Albus Dumbledore, but the person they find instead is his brother, Aberforth Dumbledore. As you may recall from the books, Albus and Gellert Grindelwald were friends and likely in love. At least, Dumbledore was. We know that Albus cared very deeply for Gellert, and that we have yet to see or hear definitively about an actual relationship. No idea if we will this time, but we should. Aberforth and Albus have quarreled over that relationship because Albus and Gellert wanted to start a new order which excluded Muggles. A bit of backstory here. Albus and Gellert became friends as teenagers and obsessed over the Deathly Hallows. They would go on to duel with Aberforth and Ariana Dumbledore was killed. Later, when Gellert found the Elder Wand, Albus had to duel him to get it and take him down. The world as we know it is coming undone. That quote above means many things. The wizarding world is going into battle in WWII, and the big battle between Albus and Gellert happens in 1945. The vial Newt brought Albus at the end of the last film contained the pledge that the two could never duel. So there's that. We see Albus walking down a snowy street in what appears to be London. Then we see a quick shot of what appears to be a group of wizards from different parts of the world at a rally. Then we see Grindelwald removing memories from the head of Yusuf Kama using his wand, as we hear Grindelwald is pulling it apart with hate. Then there is a shot of Newt's buddy, the little Bowtruckle Pickett, standing on a platform near a river. We can't tell who Albus is talking to in the next frame. It might be Aberforth or it could be Newt. But he says, if you want to defeat him, you'll have to trust me. Pickett is the cutest and where can I get one? Then we see Pickett, Newt, and his suitcase of Fantastic Beasts walking up from what is probably that same river, through a very wet and dark forest. It's really, really dark, as you can see from the pic. By the way, this might be China. We've heard that we'll see the UK, Germany, Bhutan, and China in the film, and some of their magic. There is another street shot following a group that I believe contains Newt, Theseus, newcomer Jessica Hicks as Professor Eulalie Lally Hicks, who is a professor of Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and maybe Albus. It's hard to tell. Following them is Dan Fogler as Jacob, the no-match who is in love with the Witch Queenie, who ended up joining Team Grindelwald in the last film after being told she couldn't marry Jacob. It's a mess, friends. Someone says this is the team that's going to take down the most dangerous wizard in over a century. They walk through a wall, heading into what looks like a different rally, and stairs leading up to a tower. Now, this is probably not the place that wall actually took them to, but it's a trailer, so these things happen. Magical Avengers assemble. Newt does have his suitcase, and he appears to be alone. So it's actually very likely that this is a different part of the film. The quote continues, naming the team. The voice says, a magizoologist, his indispensable assistant, a wizard descended from a very old family, a school teacher, and a muggle. All this is happening while we see Bunty walking. Grindelwald's castle, another rally, Yusuf, Lally, a shot of what we thought was the Hogwarts train, but isn't. Then Jacob, Lally, Newt, Yusuf, Bunty, and Theseus on that train. Jacob points to himself when they say, Muggle. Newt then says to Jacob, Dumbledore asked that I give you something. Looking at what Jacob got, that something is a wand. Jacob got a wand. Are you kidding me right now? Jacob says as it's handed to him. I've said that about a certain author. A lot. It was Theseus talking. He says, who wouldn't like our chances? In a very sarcastic manner. Yeah, that tracks. Now we're back to scenes from Hogwarts, with a Gryffindor rogue person flying over the top of it. Jacob, Newt, Lally, and Theseus walking its halls, the four of them in a classroom watching Dumbledore whip up a little something with his wand. And then a shot of Aberforth asking Dumbledore a question. Off to save the world, are we? That appears to take place in Aberforth's house in Hogsmeade. there is an overhead shot of yet another rally. Hey, does anyone else think the Grindelwald peeps should be wearing red hats and disrupting family holiday dinners with the awful things they say? Then we see a phoenix flying down towards Credence. Well, he's a Dumbledore, so that makes sense. Is Queenie back on the side of the light? Things are not quite what they appear. We see a clip of Queenie and Jacob embracing, Albus holding the no-dueling vial with the center appearing a pinkish red, Newt looking down at many crab-like creatures in a cave, which I believe are blast-ended Scroots. He moves down to the cave floor with Theseus and immediately does the same crab pose. He and Theseus creep across the ledge in that pose, with Newt giving instructions. Then, from behind them, a giant Scroot claw tries to poke them off the ledge. Well, sure, don't mess with a blast-ended Scroot. Well, the big ones, anyway. The little ones are fine. In the next shot, Theseus and Lally are standing back to back on a small street, looking very concerned. Sure, those words concern me as well. The real reason they're concerned is the group of wizards in hats trying to fight them. They seem to be doing fine against them, though Jacob gets to use his new toy. Then we see Jacob at some sort of banquet and he's in the middle of a battle with his wand raised. I guess he knows how to use it. I'm not clear on the muggles using wands thing. Something very bad is happening here because we're also getting a shot of Queenie with blonde hair. She looks pissed off, and that's not a good sign. Then we see Credence cutting through a web of some sort of lightning, then running up a set of stairs as Mads Mikkelsen's Grindelwald says, "Our war with the Muggles begins today." That quote from before started with the War of the World and ended with begins with a secret. Ooh, we see a shot of Dumbledore's face, then Yusuf pointing his wand at the ground, and people falling. Grindelwald in green water, using his wand to fling someone, and Credence in his now long hair running through the streets and what looks like his Obscurus blowing things up behind him. Dumbledore is trying not to hurt him but instead hold him back. He gets blown backward by Credence. The room we require. Our heroes stand on the stairs in the next shot after seeing Dumbledore in front of what looks like a Tibetan prayer wheel and explain that this is the room that we require. The Room of Requirement. A useful plot device written by a very bad person. Jacob and Newt get sucked through it. Then we see a shot of someone being dangled from a dragon and a very distressed Pickett. Don't worry, Pickett. Newt will save you. Credence blasts out fire from his wand at Dumbledore, who appears to be fighting with London Fog. Then in a different shot, we see the team with Dumbledore in the Great Hall. Newt has just said something, and Dumbledore says, "Correct. 3 points to Hufflepuff." I admit that gave me a thrill. I got it for Christmas. Finally, we see the logo for the film, and fog behind it that looks like a phoenix. So much fog in these movies. Then Jacob is sitting in the Great Hall with little students. He's got his wand, and one of the kids wants to see it. He says through a mouthful of food, very dangerous. If it got in the wrong hands, it will mess you up," as he puts it in his pocket. When the kid asks where he got it, he says, "I got it for Christmas." Well, that's the trailer breakdown for you. Also guys, if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe as well, turning the notification bell on so that you don't miss on such amazing upload in the near future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.